Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today, we're going to go over how to boost your credit score within, how about 48 hours? How about 72 hours? How about 1 week? That's right. How about in a couple of weeks? We'll go over it real quick. We've talked about it before, but we're going to go over this specific video. So please, like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And don't forget about the merch. That's right, the merch. You can go to StopStrugglingNow.com and pick it up there. Look for SSN merchandise in the link. Let's get to it. All right, welcome back. Today's video, based on how to get your credit boosted almost instantly, within a few days, within a few weeks. We've discussed this several times, but first, please, you notice on the screen, Stop Struggling Now YouTube channel, and you'll see there's other videos down below that may interest you, especially if we're talking about building your credit. Then that means you can get a better credit score, means you can now can invest in real estate. Now also means that whenever you get a loan, the higher your credit score is, the lower your interest rate is. All this correlates, and it all starts with, even if you don't have the money, if you have a great credit score, you can get the money. And even if you don't have a credit score and don't have any money, this is why I made the video on how to get investors for real estate if you want to get into the real estate game. So there's all kind of things you can do, but basically if you have your credit score at 700 plus, preferably closer to 750 if you can get it there, the better, because then you open up a whole new door of opportunities regarding lending, which also means if you can be loaned 20 or $30,000 or 50 or 60 or 100, that also means you can buy something and leverage the money. So one of these days I'll make a video on about leveraging money, so then that way you can understand what I'm talking about. So I'll keep it plain and simple, because this is about boosting your credit score fast. But if you're trying to leverage your money, instead of what you hear people talking about is, I'll give you an example real quick. I bought a car, paid cash, $50,000. Well, what they could have done was, a car goes down in value. You don't make any money from the car. But you could have put down $15,000 and bought yourself a duplex using an FHA loan, because your credit score is above, well, in this case, FHA loans, you only need like a 600 or above. But you could have got an FHA loan and put down 3%. So you guys can start doing the math. $100,000 of property, 3% is 3 grand. Pretty simple. Or 3.5%, 3,500, $4,000. Either way, that $50,000, you could have bought something worth $300,000, $250,000 if your credit was right. So anyhow, let's get to it. I've spoken about this before several times, and one way to do it is if you already have credit cards, if you already have trade lines, if you have equity lines of credit, HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, if you have any type of credit, you can pick up the phone right now. You can call up the people you have your credit trade line through and request that they increase your credit limit. Now, what that does is a couple of things. Remember, 30% of your credit score is based on debt utilization. So if you increase your credit limit, that will lower your debt utilization. That means your credit score goes up. So the next time they report, or your closing date that they report to the credit bureau, your score should increase, whether it's 1 point, 3 point, 5 point, 20 points. It all depends on how much they increase your credit limit. But that in itself is a powerful maneuver that doesn't cost you anything other than the time to get on the phone. And if you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 items reporting to your credit report, like you should, If you're a Stop Struggling Now subscriber, you know you should have 10 items, mixed items. It could be a car and a house. They report, but they don't go against your debt utilization, but they report. So if you don't have a car or a house, then you need credit cards. You need like things like self-lender. You need things like Ox Publishing. You need New Coast Direct, My Jewelers Club. You can add these guys instantly. You can get unsecured and secured cards. Capital One gives you a credit card if you have basically a 600 score, a 590 score and up. Your middle score has to be that, and you can get a card. But all we're talking about here today is in boosting your score up, but I'm giving you the idea behind it and why you want to do that. So that's your first thing. Call up whoever you have your trade line or credit line through and ask them to simply say, hey, I've been paying on time. Can you, I haven't missed payments, by the way. Can you see about increasing my credit limit? I might have some things to do. You know, I need to buy some things and make some large purchases, so I need my credit line increased. And just talk to them nicely, sweetly, because they hear from people bitching all day long. The second item, where you can get things done in a matter of a few days, is authorized user trade lines. A lot of times when I've discussed AU trade lines, I never really have mentioned that you could get it done within 4 to 5 days. I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, I will put up on the screen, for instance, today is the 7th of the month. I'll put up on the screen a few trade lines, for instance, that the statement date, or the date that the credit bureaus take a snapshot of a person's credit card, credit limit, and all that, it's the 7th. You could actually get an AU trade line that they take a snapshot on the 11th of the month. This is the 7th. You can make it the 10th of the month. It all depends on when you can get the money to me to purchase the AU trade line, but we'll use the 11th. They'll take a snapshot on the 11th. That AU trade line could be on your credit report by 6 or 7 days later, so around the 18th. So basically 10 to 11, 12 days from now, you could boost your credit score up by simply getting an authorized user trade line. This is how simple this is. And this is also something that you should, in today's society, think very carefully about when you're using your credit cards and trying to get credit, because you're trying to leverage your credit score into lower interest rates, which means lower payments on large purchase items. So it doesn't matter if you're buying something that's $200 and you pay it off. It matters when you're buying something for $200,000, when you're buying something for $30,000, $20,000, when you're going down to a furniture store and they say, we'll give you a loan if you buy this, what do they cost at the furniture store? Anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 you can come out of there with, and then they want to charge you some ungodly interest rate. But if you have a great credit score, that means you'll have a great credit card. You won't have to get their in-house financing. And even if you do get their in-house financing, it could be temporary because they have 0% interest for 90 days or 120 days, or could be 6 months. There's all kind of deals that you have to take advantage of. In-house, they may say no interest for 90 days. So what do? You get no interest for 90 days. And then you put it on your credit card later, but your credit score could already be increasing those next 3 months. And instead of paying interest of 12 or 15%, you might be able to get it to where you can go to the credit union and they'll say, okay, we'll give you something for 5% or 6% or 3%, or they'll give you something for a year for no interest. You just never know. But when your credit is good, these are the kind of options that you will not have if your credit is bad. So those are the 2 ways that we're going to talk about today that can get your credit score boosted up real fast. The third way is Ox Publishing and Hutton Chase. How this works is their primary trade lines. You'll see them down below in the description. And whenever somebody orders $100 or more through them, You put down 50%. They will call you up 3 to 5 days later. Or you can call them up 3 to 5 days later after your account gets locked in with them and say, hey, can I prepay this month or prepay next month so you can report this month? So therefore, they will say yes. And instead of them reporting next month, for instance, I sign up with Ox Publishing, Hutton Chase today, they're going to report the 7th, the 10th, the 12th of next month. But if I call them up or they call me in 3 to 5 days and say, hey, Eric, if you prepay next month, we'll report you this month. Well, then that means they can report you on the 20th or the 24th. And once again, your credit score could be boosted within a matter of 2 weeks or less. Your debt utilization will now be decreased again. If you're above 29%, this could come in very handy because remember, debt utilization, 29% or less. Ideally, you want to be under 9%. That's it. And I'll have something on the screen where you can see how debt utilization is calculated. But again, it's very simple. $10,000 credit limit. Overall, through your, let's say you had 5 credit cards and it's $10,000 credit limit, and you have $2,000 combined that you have used of that 10,000. That means you have 20% debt utilization. So it's just that simple. So you want to get it under 9%. So that means you got to get it down under $900. $900 or less. That'll get you 9%. So that's how you stay in good. And everybody, you can go to Credit Karma, even though they use Vantage, a little different way to score the model, but at least on Credit Karma, they show you the buckets and they tell you how to get into the green. So everybody can find out themselves what it takes. It's not rocket science, but you can manipulate the system by using AU trade lines, by getting increased credit limits and things of this nature. So this is short and sweet today. I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. Thank you for your support. But there is one thing. StopStrugglingNow.com. You can go to the website. You can see it right here. We actually have Boost Credit primary trade lines video. And here, if you go to Boost Credit, you can see the AU trade lines. And I might have some others posted later on today. But this is the kind of pricing that you get with AU trade lines. And I'll probably add a few more in case. And if you need to get your credit score boosted this month by AU trade lines, by using AU trade lines, just contact me at eric@stopstrugglingnow.com, and I'll email you back with what I have. And just so you know, straight out the box, if you want to purchase an AU trade line, it's only a few ways you can make payment. That's by Zelle, which means bank to bank, Wells Fargo to Bank of America to Chase. That's Zelle. All the major banks have Zelle. The other choice is Walmart to Walmart, which costs around $8.95. That means you got to go down to Walmart, and I got to go pick it up at Walmart, but it's $8.95. If you don't want to do that, then it's simply the other options are MoneyGram, Western Union. That's the only way you can pay for AU trade lines, because once you pay for an AU trade line and we put it on your credit file, it's a wrap. It's a done deal. If it doesn't post to your credit file, then we'll remove it. We'll give you back any money. But the other thing is fraud alert, credit freezes, any of that nonsense on your credit report, you cannot get AU trade lines. And in fact, you don't even want to get primary trade lines, because some companies now will not post because you have fraud alerts, credit freezes, and other things on your credit file, filing stolen credit cards and all this kind of thing with the police that a lot of people tell you to do. That will block you from potentially getting new credit. So keep that in mind from all these other so-called credit repair specialists. All right, they're trying to do one thing. If somebody's trying to repair your credit, then they're trying to remove derogatory items, and they're not trying to worry about you getting new credit. So therefore, there's two different things going on. All right. The other thing about authorized user trade lines is if you have bad credit, then you can use the AU trade lines to offset your bad credit. So if you have $500 in a collections, then all you need is a $5,000 AU trade line to offset that. And therefore that will reduce your debt utilization and you get to win. So in certain cases, you do not have to pay off your collection in order to get new credit. Like if you get a house, they most of the time want you to pay off your collection. If you get cars, they don't usually care. They just go by your FICO score because you can get financing relatively easy. Just depends on what your finance rate's going to be. Credit cards, they may or may not, depending on the underwriters and what they're talking about. They don't care really about your collections. What they care about is if your score says 700, your score says 720, your score says 750, you're going to get approved for credit cards. Simple as that. So thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And you know it's hard out here. So prepare yourselves. The economy, even though we're hitting records, just make sure you are investing in yourself, whether it's your credit, whether it's your precious metals. And if you don't know what that means, it's silver, gold, platinum, palladium, getting a little bit of that. You don't have to spend a lot of money on that, just a little leftover money. Get an ounce of silver here, a gram of palladium, platinum, or gold there. Nothing major. And of course, I always say APMEX, JDBullion.com, because $99 or more, they give you free shipping. So keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.